move on now to a Morning Joe exclusive. Joining us from Washington, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts and the ranking member of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings of Maryland. They're here to announce their new push for what they call the Middle Class Prosperity Project, and it is good to have you both on the show this morning.
Good to be with you.
So you have co-written a piece in USA Today. I'd like to read a part of it that really crystallizes what you two are launching today. After the 2008 economic collapse, massive financial institutions received billions of dollars in bailouts, while families across the country watched helplessly as their home values and savings crashed and millions of jobs. These events were not caused by an invisible hand. They were not the inevitable result of globalization or organic market trends. Instead, powerful interest groups, massive corporations, and the super rich rigged the system to jack up their profits and grab the spoils for themselves. For too long, government has worked for the rich and powerful. Government needs to work for America's middle class again. And Elizabeth, I'll start with you. It's great to see you. How do you expect this series of events to really make a change that we haven't seen so far? You say this administration has made great strides. What still needs to be done?
Well, look, coming out of this great recession, the administration has done a lot. The economy is surely recovering, but what it really means is that rich people are doing well, giant corporations are doing well, and the middle class is still just getting hammered. And what is this Congress doing? You know, in the United States Senate, the Republicans are now in charge, and what have they spent their time on? First, they wanted to spend weeks on a pipeline that would principally benefit some foreign oil company, and now they want to spend a month on shutting down Homeland Security at a time when we face terrorist threats. So what we're trying to do is get some focus on what's happening to America's working people, what's happening to the middle class, and to remind people middle class is in trouble because of deliberate policy choices made in Washington. That means we can make changes here in Washington, and that's what we want to draw some attention to, and that's what we want to focus on.
So, Senator, obviously the rich have been getting richer and the poor have been getting poorer for a long time. The middle class, as you guys said in this op-ed, have been hammered for the past 30 years. Average wages have dropped every year in real dollars since 1971. Tell us one thing specifically, and I ask this, Senator, first of you and then Elijah of you. What's one thing in this bill that is going to reverse those trends? Oh, for one, let's just refinance student loan debt. Yes. There's $1.2 trillion outstanding in student loans. 40 million Americans are dealing with student loans. And what is the United States government doing? The United States government is making a profit off those student loans. Just the student loans that went out between 2007 and 2012, just that one little cohort of loans, after you account for the bad debt losses and the administrative costs and the cost of the funds, that group of loans is on target to produce $66 billion in profits for the United States government. In other words, what we're doing right now is we are taxing young people who are trying to get an education, people who are trying to start their lives and had to borrow money to go to school. We are taxing them so that tax loopholes can stay open for millionaires and billionaires. That's a change, and that's a change we could make right now. So Elijah, student loans is one change. What's the change you're looking at?
Child care. People are spending so much money in child care. I have employees that are spending more in child care than they would spend for a college education. We've got to find ways to help folks, because more and more people now have to have two income earners. Keep in mind that what is happening is that the corporate execs and the stockholders are getting more of the corporate profits, while Americans are working harder but getting less. But yet and still, the cost of housing and education and health care, those things are going up, but their wages are stagnating. That's what we're trying to address.
Specifics of child care. What does this bill specifically call for in taking care of child care?
Keep in mind, Joe, this is a project. Right now, what we're doing is experts to inform us as to exactly the things that we need to be doing and where we are. We have to, not only must the Congress be informed, but the American public must be informed about what is going on. Because more and more, they're looking at their paychecks at the end of the week, and they're saying, wait a minute, I'm getting less and less, but yet still I'm producing more and more. And that's a problem.
Mike, when you look at child care, you can look at studies and see the earlier you invest in the life of somebody, right? If you invest in job training, unfortunately for a guy that's my age, you're going to get the least amount of return. And you can go all the way back. You invest early on in child care, you do get the biggest bang for your buck. And it's, I mean, statistically, it's been proven time and again.
Well, you get the biggest bang for your buck because you're covering the child, you're covering the working family. It's all encompassing. Senator Warren, as you know, I have heard you several times, your message, people listen to it, it's galvanizing, it's encouraging to people. So, but my question to you is, and to Congressman Cummings, everything you talk about, and the two items you've mentioned here today, child care and student loans, what are the prospects for passage of legislation in the near future? Not down the road, not 4 years, not 5 years. People get frustrated and they might give up on listening to your message.
You know, the prospects are a whole lot better if you get out and fight for it. I guarantee if we just sit back and continue to have debates over pipelines for foreign oil companies and shutting down Homeland Security, not one thing will get done for America's working families. What we're trying to do is we're trying to put some wind in the sails here to get some change. Because I'll tell you this, Washington works great. It works just great for people who can hire armies of lobbyists and lawyers. If you're a giant, this place is working for you. It's out there to do your business. Working families, it's not working so great for you. So how are we going to get Washington to work again for working families? The answer is we got to get out there and stir it up a little bit. We've got to be out there talking about these issues and get people all across this country to call their congressman, to call their senators, to raise some sand about this. Look, people told me we couldn't get the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The big banks fought it. They said it would never happen. We have a good, strong Consumer Financial Protection Bureau today. And why? Because people across this country said, hey, that sounds like a good idea. I'm willing to fight for it. They pushed enough people in the Senate and the House that we got it through. We have people who want to see changes in child care, who want to see changes in student loans. All we have to do is harness that energy and make it happen.
And Elijah, are you guys, you've got big name economists getting behind this. Are you all hitting the road? How will you try and move the meter by getting to the message out there and getting to people?
Well, the first thing we're going to do is we have several forums already planned. And then what we'll do is we may very well be moving throughout the country. But the main thing is to put a megaphone give a megaphone to the people that Elizabeth was just talking about. Those people that are working so hard. And people who are not looking for a handout, but looking for a fair shake. And so we've got to continue to push. As a matter of fact, I would consider it political malpractice if we didn't address these issues.
So there are a lot of people, Elizabeth, who are ready for Warren. You built the Consumer...
Well, Mika's really at the top of that list. I brought her a check to write the first check.
Some would say, stop it, Joe. You built the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. You've run for Senate, and your message is always clear. With all these people kind of coming at you and poking at you about this, I guess with the passion that you have on the issue of the middle class, how could you not be considering it?
You know, I don't think this is about me. I think this is really about this set of issues. And what I want to do is talk as hard and as long and as loud as I need to get people galvanized around change. This can't just be about politics. It's not just about one person. This is about when we get organized and say enough of a Washington that works for lobbyists and lawyers. We have got to build a country that works for America's families. Not just for some of them, but for all of them. That's what I'm here for.
Elijah, I think you should run for president, man. I've known you a long time. Come on.